that has played in 2 finals and lost 2 semi-finals by just 1 point, all in the last 4 years. Munster, can this be their year? They will take the field knowing that this is where the quest for the cup in 2004 reaches a new level of intensity. Ronan O'Gara. And in the Munster side, 10 of the men who took part in the never-to-be-forgotten win in Limerick. An all-international backline bar fullback Sean Payne, 9, 10, 12 of the highest quality there in Stringer, O'Gara and Henderson. The forwards, well, they're all caps. And Anthony Foley, he's worn the Munster jersey 54 times in the Heineken Cup.
Yes, this Munster back row controlled the pace of the match in Limerick last year, and they destroyed the attacking rhythm of Gloucester's game. There is not a smarter non-international combination in Europe than this one of Jim Williams, Anthony Foley and David Wallace.
Gloucester left Munster in a state of shock almost a year ago. They were outplayed, they were outthought, and above all, psyched out. The next few weeks were spent mending the gaping wounds. They responded very well, but the European Cup this time around was always going to have a more special meaning for Gloucester. And how meaningful that they should be thrown alongside Munster again. Duncan McRae. Gloucester name this 15. A lot has been made of McRae's addition to this absorbing story. Today, though, the eye is also drawn to two inexperienced players thrust into the front line. Fullback John Goodridge, he's been starting in the Premiership, but this is a step up. Hooker Chris Collins as well comes into the team to replace the suspended Chris Forty. So Goodridge and Collins about to experience their biggest day on a rugby field. No Phil Vickery for Gloucester today. They hope they'll have him back next week. On the bench, Robert Todd, Terry Fanalua preferred today, and for Munster, David Pusey, the former ACT lock, who would love to add a European final to a Super 12 final appearance. Referee is Nigel Williams of Wales. 3 games for him at the World Cup, and there's an almost international feel to this occasion today. Kingsholm, a wonderful sight and a wonderful noise too. And one of the most talked about club or provincial matches is all set to begin now on this weekend when England meets Ireland again in the Heineken Cup. It's Ronan O'Gara who starts this match. And it's Paramore who got a hand on it, but it's back in Munster hands now with Sheehan. Far from convincing at the kick-off there, Gloucester. O'Gara going crossfield. Well, it's on Goodridge, the fullback, as it swirls back in. His first tester. And he's called the mark. My goodness, what a start for the 22-year-old fullback.
Well, he's missed touch, though.
And Munster have a chance to come straight back. O'Connell did well to pick that one up. Stringer. His service, such a key part of this Munster side. He slings that ball away. Didn't quite find his target on that occasion. And Goodridge again calls for the mark. He's being shunted around his 22. Tinas Delport, remember, out injured after his return for the World Cup. During the World Cup, Goodridge was the man, and his form was getting better and better. But as we said right at the start of this match, this is a different league. That time he finds his touch, and it was very important that he did. Got a booming left boot.
Good start for Goodridge, 2 takes there. He did miss the 1 touch, but another young man who is crucial today is Chris Collins. For all the pyrotechnic talent behind the scrum at Gloucester's disposal, Collins has got to take on Munster's mighty line out, because otherwise supply could be cut at source, and if that happens, Gloucester will need all the King's Home roar to take them to victory. Big day for Collins.
Sheehan will throw for Munster. Irish international, 13 caps to his name. Had to be patient. Shane Burning behind Keith Woodman's gone over the top. He's found Jake Ball, who scored 2 tries in this fixture last season. The home leg for Gloucester. And of course, as captain, he'll look to set the standard. McRae, Henry Paul, Fanaloa, so popular here, and back in the side to find Goodridge there, and then Simpson Daniel. Gloucester for the first time inside that Munster 22. McRae again, Paul again. Here comes Woodman, he's left it for Garvey. Tried to get away from his man, just couldn't get the pass on or into the breadbasket of Deacon, but the referee has given a penalty, and Gummersall has taken it quickly from in front of the post. McRae gets it out here. Well, it was a certain 3 points had they taken that one on.
Well, surely Ronan O'Gara could be facing the yellow card here, because he just took Gummersall out cynically, and Nigel Williams, I think, is going to go straight to the yellow card, because I don't think Gloucester would have missed a chance of a try if not for this.
10 metres, back you go.
Oh, he's lucky. He's really lucky there.
Munster hadn't retreated 10 metres, and that's why, of course, the penalty still stands in front of those posts. Gummersall took the decision quickly, and it was very much on, and O'Gara is a lucky man, as Stuart says.
It wasn't that he didn't retreat 10 metres, he actively went forward to kill that attack. Gloucester are going to get the 3 points anyway, which is the least they deserve for a good start from the home team. But Ronan O'Gara is lucky there.
Henry Paul with the 3 points. He started the weekend as the leading scorer in the competition. Let's have another look at this. Well, Gummersall going into the referee, and yeah, O'Gara, well, he wasn't even 1 metre.
And just watch his arms now. He wants to stop Gummersall playing this ball. That's as blatant a professional foul as you'll see in the United Kingdom and Ireland. And Ronan O'Gara, a lucky man there, but a good start for Gloucester.
O'Gara restarts the match, and this time Paramore catches it. Missed the kickoff, didn't miss that one. Woodman with him. Gummersall, awkward one for Goodridge. And pressure put on by Wallace. Here's Horan. Horgan. Good tackle by Deacon. Stringer. O'Gara. What a start to this match. Henderson. Oozing effort and commitment from both sides. Horan again. Stringer wants quick ball. Now it's out to Jim Williams. Stringer again. And Payne looked awkward there to fall back.
It was a poor ball there from Stringer, wasn't it?
Well recovered by Hayes. And John Kelly. Down went Cornwall, but the referee said he went into the side, which he did. Penalty.
Good start for Marcus Horan, you know. The Munster prop forward, he's very similar in the way he moves to Trevor Woodman. I'm looking forward to seeing both these loose head props playing today. Highly talented players, but Stringer's pass a little bit ropey, but O'Gara in the condition is not going for the 3 points, he's going for the territory, and that fantastic Munster line out. It's been dominant in Europe so far.
There's the pass from Stringer, didn't find his target again. That's the second time it's happened in the match, making it awkward for Payne. And interesting then that Munster go for this line out just short of the Gloucester line. Paul O'Connell, what a year he's had. The Lions side was selected now. You have to make a very good case for that man not to be in it.
And of course the option is Donica O'Callaghan at 2. Great options, they go Connell and it's strong.
Now can they get the drive on? Gloucester trying to get back round. Deacon can see the ball, he's trying to pull it out. This fine rain continues to fall. Just adds to the drama of the occasion. O'Callaghan clearing away for Stringer. Horan's coming on the short pass. Stopped on that gain line. Stringer again. O'Gara. Henderson pops out in the tackle. Doesn't happen too often to Rob Henderson, a very strong man. It's a breakout now with McRae to Goodrich. Loves to counter. Got Simpson Daniel with him. Just couldn't get the ball onto him, and that's John Kelly working back excellently there, the winger. And now it's Munster who come back at the home side. Stringer, better pass. Henderson again. That's more like it from him. That's how he carries the ball, and he sets it back for Stringer to Horan. You can see a bit of a gap in front of him. It closed down as Peter Buxton managed to make the tackle. It's Kelly to Williams. Stringer caught by Gummersall, and that is good turnover ball for Gloucester. It's Henry Paul. Fine work there by the Gloucester scrum half, catching Stringer in possession, and here comes Fanalua now. Goodrich again. Simpson Daniel looked a bit high, that. What's the referee's decision?
Plenty of width from Gloucester, and it is a miserly old day, but they're putting it wide.
It is a penalty for the high tackle. Clayton Thomas just explaining that to the referee. He'd seen it, the touch judge.
Rob Henderson took his eye off the ball there as Henry Paul went in for the tackle, and John Goodrich's line here is so good. Out and then in. He's almost through again. That lovely inside arc. He's very dangerous, and it was good work by Horgan to stay between the fullback and Simpson Daniel. Otherwise, Gloucester are away, and they ran that ball from their own line. A confident start from the King's home team.
Gloucester in form, won 5 out of their last 6 in all competitions. Of course, they haven't lost at home in Europe. The one draw is Colomiers. But they go to Munster next week with Thurman Park and all its history. They've won all 14 of their Heineken Cup matches on that ground. Here's Henry Paul. Pulls it.
Shoulders rolled very early there. You just watch the rotation of the upper body. That was always going to be a hook there. A poor kick from Henry Paul. There was a jerk on that kick. No rhythm, no fluidity.
Plenty of tension. Gummersall. Goodrich. McRae. 1 or 2 boos there from the Munster supporters, and there's a good presence from Munster in the crowd, and McRae's put that out on the full. So a mistake from the Gloucester fly half, the Australian.
Well, plenty of nerves out there, plenty of ambition from Gloucester. Instead of running this time, though, McRae plays the territory game, and he just overcooks that one. And Munster have the ball where they like it most, at the line out. Donica, O'Callaghan and Paul O'Connell. What a battle with Cornwall and Brown, who did so well against the England lots last week.
In that match in the English Premiership against Leicester, Gloucester winning at Welford Road for the first time in that competition. So going into this match, full of confidence. McRae, Paul, Payne, used to be with Natal, Swansea too, of course. Chasing his own kick. Goodrich, Gummersall, McRae doesn't go for the kick this time. Didn't really have the option because Horan was very much in his face there. Buxton. And a penalty here for holding on against Peter Buxton. And Williams points straight at the post there. The Munster skipper rejected that long-range effort for Ronan O'Gara, but not this one. This is too close.
That's fascinating, though. Here's a perfect example as McRae passes it of Gloucester's pod sister. 3 forwards wide, and you can see the away team don't have men there. They're chasing across. The pass isn't good enough. It bounces. Otherwise, they're able to make headway. But it's a brave thing so early in the game, throwing these big missed passes on what is a difficult day for passing.
Peter Buxton getting his longest run in the side since joining from Newport. Did in fact play in both matches between these two in last season's Heineken Cup. Talk about bad conditions. Munster's game going into this game against Connaught in the Celtic League. It finished 3-0, the only points from Renan O'Gara's boot. Conditions were dire. Flags go up and Ronan O'Gara gets the first points for Munster in this match. Watching him practice last night on this ground, he didn't miss many. He is a wonderful kicker. 6 out of 7 against Bourgoin when Munster went to France and won what was a very tough encounter earlier this season. He got that away, but the pressure that was put on him might pay dividends here, because here comes Paramore.
He was in bellicose form at Welford Road last week, wasn't he, Junior Paramore?
McRae. Hands on it there from James Simpson-Daniel, who's in very threatening form. There's more than a touch of star quality about him. There's a better piece of play from McRae, who'll feel good inside after this little moment, which we'll see again.
It's not the greatest pass from Andy Gomersall. And then the little dink, but he won't be that pleased with the kick. He reacted quite well, to be fair to him, but he didn't want that ball going out. Reiterate this, the touchline is invariably the friend of Munster.
Did all right considering though, didn't he? O'Connell soaring high. See, their number 8 is Anthony Foley. Simpson-Daniel, Henry Paul, Fanalua. That's a good step from Fanalua, out of the back as well to Henry Paul. He's trying to see off there Mullins and Kelly, but he took 2 men out of the game, and maybe Gloucester now have some men on that far side on the overlap. Goodridge comes in, tries to barge his way through the first tackle. Gomersall, that's a good take from him. And all of a sudden that overlap is gone, but it seemed there were more Gloucester players than covering Munster defenders there, partly because of what Fanalua and Paul did on this near side. Here's Fanalua again. Henry Paul. Garvey. Buxton trying to get himself away from that touchline. Good tackle from O'Gara. It's gone forward.
I tell you, there's some good back play from Gloucester here at the moment. Fanalua and Henry Paul looking very dangerous, and I tell you, John Goodridge has made a lovely start to this game. Simpson-Daniel gives the ball, and then Paul linking with Fanalua. Good step from the Samoan, and now watch Henry Paul off that little inside ball. Excellent stuff there.
But was there an overlap after that? What was your initial impression?
Well, I think what happened, Trevor Woodman came very, very hard and flat from wide, and he collided with Goodridge. There was a chance. I wouldn't say there was an obvious overlap. There was half a chance.
And in matches like this one, you have to take those half chances. There won't be many, because the sheer weight of tackling and defensive organisation, well, it's already there for all to see, in the way that players backtrack and cover the ground. The space is soon swallowed up. That's Paramore being swallowed up, and that's quite a gobble.
I would say Gloucester will be delighted with the fact they've probably got more quick ball in the first 15 minutes of this match than they achieved in the entire 80 at Thomond Park. Munster love to slow down second, third phase ball of opponents. They haven't been able to do that so far. And there you can see at the moment, though, interesting line-out battle.
O'Connell with the call. Again, a free kick. Took too long, says the referee. And it's cost them another 10 metres, that lack of discipline, or as far as Gloucester can go, which is 5 metres short of that line. Gomersall to McRae. Here comes Jake Ball, the captain. The supporters demanding that their players give everything today. Paul out to Gomersall. Fanalua, they're working in a tight spot here, and Terry Fanalua is going for that corner. Gloucester will put in Fanalua back in the side, his first start since he played against Rotherham on the opening day of the season in the Zurich Premiership, and he tried to use his power here and they just held him up.
Well, Robert Todd's been started instead of Terry Fanaloa, but Fanaloa has come out like a rocket. He's really dangerous. Now this is a fantastic position for Gloucester, and it's lost.
It's been knocked on, the referee playing advantage here. Henry Paul, Gummersall, McRae, Goodridge outside, McRae with a dummy. Well picked up by Cornwall, the big man, the second row. Gummersall, that's a great pass. Simpson-Daniel, not bad either. Henry Paul gets better, the passing along that back line, but again Munster have covered well. Hayes was there.
Great work from John Hayes to get out there.
A mountain of a prop. Gummersall, McRae, Henry Paul looking for that roll around. Now it's Munster's advantage from that knock forward. Stringer, Goodridge, Simpson-Daniel loves it when it starts to open up in front of him, and he's covered tremendous ground there. Simpson-Daniel, wonderful run. Jake Bohr hugs that touchline. Buxton goes with him. Fantastic phase of the match this. McRae, Paul, Goodridge kept his cool as the ball bobbled and took its time. Now Munster feel they're turning this over. They have done. Stringer, great work at the breakdown from Munster.
Frankie Sheard didn't want that ball from Rob Henderson, did he?
Stringer, it might have been Kelly, but here's Henderson now, and O'Gara gets the ball away, and it's Kelly to Sheehan.
It's 3-3 there, but there were just signs then that Munster were rattled by the pace of Gloucester's game so far. Once again, they're using their back three to attack. Simpson-Daniel looks at Frankie Sheehan, you're not getting anywhere near me, and then the pass out wide again. Jake Ball loves that channel with the flanker, either Buxton or Paramore inside. You saw them score a try against Leicester last week doing just that.
That's Alex Brown, and that's what he can do at the line out. Brown, Cornwall, O'Callaghan, O'Connell. Cannot believe the time. Quarter of the match gone. Seems like we've only just started. It's gone in a flash. Henry Paul going after that. Like a flash himself there. Fanalua to Garvey. He's knocked on. And then the whole of Munster stopped, so the referee had to blow a whistle.
That's a lovely play by Duncan McRae. Munster pressing really hard, and he knows that nobody can get across from the scrum that quickly. It's a dink, and Henry Paul, whose appetite is voracious today for work, gets it away. It's a speculative pass from Fanaloa, but this is classy stuff from the Aussie. Creates a hole, and Henry Paul, I haven't seen him this hungry for ball and work, Miles, for quite some time. Outstanding at Welford Road last week. He's playing again. You get the feeling, don't you, Duncan McRae is such a talented footballer, such a spiky individual, that maybe him and Paul are starting to gel as an inside unit.
Well, playing Munster concentrates the mind, I'm sure, and Henry Paul reflecting what's been said and discussed in the Gloucester camp this week. We have to be at our very best to take on one of the very best. Will this be the year when Munster eventually get their crown? So close for so long.
Henry Paul, a man with a lot to prove against Munster. Developed scars after the game there that the son does not heal. He had a shocker at full-back. He looks far more at home in centre, doesn't he?
Okay. Okay, hey. Crouch and hold.
As Williams going down. First test against England back in 2000 for Australia. Experienced international player in a pack of capped players, and it shows at times, and there's a penalty to the Munster forwards.
He's a man with a great head for rugby union. I think Jim Williams signing for Munster from the Brumbies was one of the smartest Northern Hemisphere signings as soon as he joined them, players like Anthony Foley stopped being just strong hod carriers. They developed this smart awareness and anticipation of the game. Williams is a cornerstone of this team.
And the Munster men march to that line-out. Great purpose in their stride, but they've been turned over at the tail. Gummersall, McRae, Paul, Fanalua waits, took the ball high, but his service is good onto Goodrich, then Simpson Daniel. Inside Kelly that time, Mullins trying to get back, he makes the tackle on Fanalua. Wallace is there as well. The ball was out and Munster totally within their rights to pour through there. It's been knocked forward.
And once again, those Gloucester three-quarters are looking sharp. Duncan McRae really pulls his midfield men onto it. He forces them to attack, and Simpson Daniel almost away again with Fanaloa eager. Watch his pass from McRae. Beautiful ball. Paul's is not quite as good, but then Goodrich with that line and Simpson Daniel, very dangerous.
Paramore to Gummersall. Here's McRae again. This is Goodrich in space. Garvey looked threatening earlier in the match. Can he do it again? Horgan and then Mullins. Horgan couldn't make his tackle. Fanalua. Henrik Paul bursting onto that ball. So was Woodman. That's the Munster 22. That's what Woodman loves to do, carry the ball in those situations. Fanalua again. Well, he's lost it, and a chance here for Munster maybe to scramble this one back. They've got advantage for the knock forward. Henderson, then Mullins. And Goodrich across. Good tackle and good chase from Anthony Horgan. Garvey has got no opposing winger, so Callaghan comes in and makes a super tackle. This is Henry Paul. Horgan's got back now. In goes Jim Williams, and his side gets a penalty. This is where the match is going to be won, at the breakdown. And what a contest between the two back rows, Ball, Buxton, Paramore, Williams, Wallace and Foley. I mean, they're all international class players, or there or thereabouts.
But that was one for Jim Williams, wasn't it? The Shed were booing. They didn't think he stayed on his feet. They thought he came in from the side. Doesn't matter, the referee thought otherwise, and Williams once again has squashed a very promising Gloucester attack. And you can see now, you look at this, Gloucester are turning over quite a lot of ball at set piece. In an open play, it's Munster losing it.
Frank Shear. Monica O'Callaghan. Horan goes in to give it a bit more of a grunt, but it's Gloucester grunting there, and it's their ball. It's Gummersall to McRae. The Shed enjoyed that right in front of them. Gummersall running into his own man, and that will be an accidental offside.
They were in an onside position.
Lots for Sheehan to think about too. Gummersall disappointed with the way that move ended, because the ball had been won, and it was good ball too.
Whoa, guys. I'm going to get out of the way. Wait for me. Engage.
And Munster have withstood a lot of pressure in this first 25 minutes. And now their forwards put the pressure on, and Foley loves to go.
From the free kick, Anthony Foley. Good central position, they can work either side here. Stringer goes right to O'Gara. Mullins without his hat. It's a good scramble on the floor again. Just to back up that point, so vital the breakdown. It's Kelly come off his wing with 2 tries in that famous game. Williams.
Release it!
Almost guaranteed not to be turned over in the tackle. O'Gara off the floor to Wallace, but the referee says knock on. O'Gara just has a little look. Wasn't quite so sure, but let's have another look ourselves.
Well, that ball's gone backwards from Ronan O'Gara. He had a little bit more than a look, didn't he? He knew that was a
that's too far.
slight error from the referee.
Wait, get you off me.
His look was to the heavens, and it feels like we're in the clouds today. It's that kind of day.
He had a look at the mortal, called the referee as well.
Gummersall. Payne. Paramore drops and then falls on the ball in total disgust. A day to eliminate mistakes like that. It has to be a top-notch day from all players, and Paramore knows it, and that is a bad knock-on. Had plenty of time, no opposition player around him.
And Gloucester have looked very dangerous trying the counter-attack. That was good ball for the counter. You can see Paramore under no pressure, eye off the ball. That's sloppy from the number 8.
Let me see. Start. Come here. Hang on a second.
Time for Nigel Williams.
Draw start from the angle that you engage. Okay, if you go in straight, he's got to go in straight as well, and let's keep the binding up in the scrums. Down we go.
Woodman Hayes, England, Ireland. For today, Gloucester, Munster, and that's all that matters to these players. Both sides full of passion on and off the field. That's a penalty against Hayes. It's the one change from the Connaught game. He's been having problems with a calf injury, not the one that troubled him last year. 6'4", 19 stone. What a size that man is. Goodridge. Looks so composed, doesn't he?
No, I think he's a good player, Goodridge. Just talking about John Hayes and his size, of course, when you're that tall, it's not really ideal for a prop forward, is it? Because it does enable smaller, shorter players like Woodman to really get in difficult body positions there, make it awkward for him.
Let it hold him back then, hasn't it?
No, he's
so
a very
important to Munster.
he's a good player around the park, isn't he? Very athletic.
Callahan cleared out of the way in certain terms there. Now this is Fanalilla on the crash ball, and Wallace had got across there to make a vital tackle. Just those penalties on the board so far. Henry Paul and Garvey after this. You'd see what he was trying to do. He just didn't direct the kick, and Garvey was pointing there. It should have gone a little bit more forward, a little bit more infield too, and he might have pounced on that. The vision was there, but not quite the execution. This is the crash ball from Fanalua.
He's doing a job for Gloucester at the moment. He's really committing Munster defenders, working well in tandem alongside Henry Paul. I think Munster will be pretty pleased to be 3-3 at the moment, because certainly the feel of the first 30 minutes is that the shed has lifted Gloucester, and it's been Gloucester on the offensive. And you look at the action areas. Yeah, you can see Gloucester with 20% in the Munster 22, but 3 points against 3 points, that's significant.
It's also significant today to emphasise the point. This is just the first of 2 tests between the two. They meet again next week. As Mick Galway was saying just shortly before the kickoff, he said, look, it's half time after this match. Let's not forget that. Whatever happens here today, we'll meet again.
That's not strictly true though, is it? Because the points are not eradicated. The wins 4 points. No matter what happens, it's a big game. And I think the pressure's on Gloucester at home to win this one.
And the new addition this year, the bonus point situation, which wasn't present in last season's competition. Referee to set the scrum. Gloucester will put into it, and this, they will feel, is a very important moment of this match. 10 minutes to go until the interval.
They'll want something to propel them going into half-time.
Creaked there with effort. Paramore was almost lying flat on the ground after his drive. The number 8 right at the back. The pressure going in on the shoulders and the neck there at the front rows. Look at him, Paramore back down on his knees to get the necessary power. Gummersall to McRae, missing out both centres, and Garvey comes off his wing. He's dangerous from here. And Munster knew it, and they snuffed him out as soon as he got the ball. And look how Munster have won that ball on the floor again. Mullins. Get this ball away. Stringer takes on the responsibility himself. Gloucester think about a quick one, but Stringer is the first to arrive, having kicked a touch. That was sensible play from the scrum half. Didn't want to risk the ball to O'Gara in that position.
Still Gloucester wait. Still Gloucester try and force it. And it's Munster who take the line out, as they do so often.
Williams was the man, and O'Gara this time is the kicker. Simpson Daniel very cool underneath that one. It would have been a difficult catch coming out of the driving drizzle. Goodridge, a little bit off the side of the boot that time from John Goodridge. Simpson Daniel who made the catch. And now Munster have what they will consider to be an attacking line-out. It's closing in, isn't it?
I was going to say, first objective achieved as well as far as Munster are concerned, in that they've taken the first half hour, the pressure, and they've withstood it. One of the problems with Gloucester at the moment is some of those big passes are just a little bit deep. Watch this one here from Duncan McRae, and you can see just how far away from the Munster players Marcel Garvey is, and that allows the likes of Henderson to read what happens, and then you can see he's isolated, there's no one close, and as the two men go in, Rob Henderson is able to turn Garvey, and that is another turnover ball. There you can see it, Henderson the line in quickly, he's strong, on his feet. That's good work from the Lions centre.
A Lion in 2001, of course, came back and joined Munster, and since then he's been dogged by injury, but it's good to see Rob Henderson back in action these days, and alongside Mike Mullins, the often underrated Mullins, they form a very effective centre combination. It's gone forward.
Certainly did. O'Callaghan tried to pat that ball back to Frankie Sheehan.
Haven't really mentioned Chris Collins a lot, have we? But he's been in the thick of it and done nothing wrong. Gloucester hooker. Paul. Oh, look at that from Henry Paul. Right out of the sweet spot. Memories there for the Gloucester fans, maybe, of Ludovic Mercier, the way that one disappeared. Fly half, the Frenchman from last year. Henry Paul, the centre, takes it from McRae, and bang.
As soon as he hit that ball, I thought the only danger is he's overcooked it because it was such a fine strike. And at the moment, yes, Munster get the ball, but with this rain and wind, what you want is territory more than anything else, forcing Munster to play from deep, hoping for the error on the line-out throw.
Sheehan throws, and O'Connell had positioned himself at the tail of that line-out, and he arched his back and made a wonderful catch. And then Stringer just asked the pack to move forward a couple more metres, and then the box kick and the pressure coming from Horgan on Garvey. Good catch. Good chase too. Gummersall. Paul. Simpson Daniel got in front of him, had to check, so he goes for the kick. Payne.
Good chase from Simpson Daniel.
Much more physical in his game now, week by week. And Ronan O'Gara just plays it safe this time.
It was a good kick from Stringer, and Marcel Garvey asked plenty of questions by Horgan, but he does ever so well there. Not getting great opportunities in attack at the moment. He doesn't get many passes right out in front of him, and he tends to be forced to check in field to the cover in defence. But his defence has really improved this season.
He's got a try in that meeting here last year. Gloucester won it comfortably, didn't they? 35-16. Munster won it comfortably the other way. Here's Henry Paul going after this, and that is a superb take from Henry Paul. Wonderful chase. That ball is very greasy, and he made it look like a sunny day. But Munster again holding up the Gloucester attack very effectively.
Let's give credit as well to another beautifully executed kick from Duncan McRae. Henry Paul, he gets the ball, but because he's so determined to keep going forward, he then gets to his feet again, and then Munster hold him up. A little bit unfortunate, But this guy, Duncan McRae, he mixes his game very well. That was a lovely kick.
And Munster get the put in. They managed to turn the ball over at the breakdown, not for the first time in this first half.
That is a very telling statistic at the moment. I know we had a graphic that came up, but I think it's just aligned in a slightly strange way, because it's Gloucester who've been losing it in open play and Munster in fact on set piece, and that has continued, and a lot of those turnovers have been 30, 25 metres from their own line, so they're key balls Munster are winning, keeping them in this game.
Stringer to O'Gara, Henderson coming through that game, no! Gummersall made a crucial tackle, it's loose though. And Fanalua goes back and Stringer tries to get another boot in. Now Goodridge thinks about a counter until he's tackled. Gummersall to Paul. They're really switched on here, both sides, testing each other out, but Garvey has lost that ball in the tackle. The sheer weight of the challenge, the combination tackle there between Mullins and David Wallace, the open side, forcing that ball out of the hands of Garvey. Well, it's all happening. It is a totally absorbing Heineken Cup match. No tries, but you cannot take your eyes off this.
There's Henderson going for the break. Ball goes back off Terry Fanaloa, and Gloucester want to turn it into attack. Here's Henderson, loves doing that. Super cover tackle from Andy Gummersall. Everybody working their socks off here.
And that's come out on the Gloucester side. Well, they turn the scrum round through 90 degrees, so they'll put the ball in, and they'll prefer that, because even though they're about to win the ball, it wasn't going to be good ball. It could be good ball now. 2 minutes to go until the interval, or the time when Nigel Williams decides to think about added time in this first half. Controlled by Paramore, Gummersall, McRae, Henry Paul, McRae round on the loop, it's Fanalua. Again, it's lost in the middle. Well, this will be annoying Gloucester. They are making mistakes in these situations, but it's so important too to emphasise the sheer weight of this tackling and the presence that both sides have in defence. There's always two men, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, the first man in from Munster puts a huge amount of physicality into the hit, and then they get there very quickly and they slow it down. That's what's been best about Munster this half, because they've been playing on the back foot.
Not on the back foot here. Chance to go forward with Sean Payne. And with Christian Cullen still unable to be selected because of his shoulder surgery at full-back. This is O'Gara and Wallace. And Horan's there too, and Stringer to O'Gara. Garvey has turned. And this is how the half started, with Goodridge running all over his 22. And knowing that he was in a match from the first whistle.
That's a very clever kick from Ronan O'Gara. He almost bent that one round, didn't he? And instead of McRae and Paul pushing and probing for territory, Ronan O'Gara this time says, OK, Gloucester, we'll put the pressure on you. Look at that, it's a lovely sort of outside of the right boot kick. And now, can O'Callaghan and O'Connell do the job?
Gummersall, Goodridge. This was there again, so was Stringer. But we'll say it again, he's looking calm. And this is an arena that he knows, but an atmosphere that he doesn't.
Quick to get the ball away, Goodridge. Moves on his feet well. That was just a one step and it was away, just about made touch. You watched Matt Leake last night taking an eternity for Leinster, and it cost his team confidence in the match. Goodridge, a youngster, not making that mistake today.
Sheehan throws. O'Connell with Brown trying to get across him. What a tussle that was. Second row play to watch and admire from both players. It was O'Connell who won the day, but only just. He had to dig deep, and now Munster try and get moving towards that 22, and they get a penalty. It was coming in at the side. And Stringer cleans the ball for his partner, who will emerge in a moment to kick for goal, surely.
Henry Paul trying to help the referee and saying the penalty was given 5 metres away. Nigel Williams says thank you and ignores him. Now this would be, well, not a killer blow obviously, but for Munster to absorb all that pressure in the first half, and O'Gara, should he kick this to give them a 6-3 lead, that will be such a bonus for Munster. What it'll do, it'll cause doubts in the Gloucester crowd, and that can transmit to the players, because when Gloucester came out, the roar from the crowd had them turbocharged from the start, and slowly it's just eased off in intensity.
Well, Clive Woodward said it, didn't he? He'd never experienced an atmosphere like this at Kingsholm before. It does feel different today. It's been good before, very good, but this is on another level. O'Gara's kick, and maybe at times it's an atmosphere which can get to even the very best. That's the half-time whistle. Ronan O'Gara with the final act of that first half, wide with the kick. We've had a penalty from both sides, we've had total commitment, ferocious tackling, one or two little half chances, but nothing clear-cut, and this is as evenly poised as we all thought it would be at this stage of the match. It's fascinating. Yeah, it's fascinating, and it's 3-3, and really that scoreline doesn't tell you the story of the game, because Gloucester played with great pace in the game, but that nous, that know-how, that professionalism of Munster has kept them in this game. It's a fantastic second half. It's even Stevens. Any team could win this one. In the distance, the cathedral looking gothic, and we are going into another world in this second half, I'm sure. Gloucester 3, Munster 3.
Tomorrow at 3 on Ford Super Sunday. Manchester United against Newcastle. Two giants come face to face in this eagerly awaited Premiership clash, live on Sky Sports 1. But first, Chelsea travel to Leicester, chasing maximum points to stay in the hunt for the title at 1:30 on Premiership Plus with Bet365. Sky Sports subscribers can order this game for just £6. See channel 433 or call 08705 160 160.
Carefully researched, painstakingly designed, perfectly sculpted. The Lord of the Rings collector's models are here. This official collection covers every major character, cast in solid metal, then hand-painted to be authentic in every detail. And a special guide adds background to the characters and the making of the films. In perfect scale, the Lord of the Rings collector's models builds fortnightly into the definitive collection. Part 1 brings you Gandalf the White.
Hello, are you losing sleep over your finances? Well, you don't have to go to the bank for a low-cost loan. Why not see if it's easier, faster and cheaper to call Lombard Direct on 0800 2 15,000.
Your rate is based on your circumstances and loan amount. Our typical rate is just 6.9% APR.
For an unsecured personal loan of up to £25,000, call Lombard Direct on 0800 2 15,000 or apply online at lombarddirect.com.
We're halfway through a big weekend of European rugby. Two more matches tomorrow. We're on air at midday for a 1 o'clock kick-off between Ulster against the Leicester Tigers from Pool 1. That's followed by the Pool 6 clash, Wasps against the Celtic Warriors. Both of those on 2. Highlights of all the games you'll be able to see in our highlight show, European Rugby Special. That's at 8 o'clock on Sky Sports 3. Half-time, an absorbing contest at Kingsholm. No tries. A penalty apiece. You can just feel, though, that there is a story brewing, can't you? 3 apiece, as I said. Munster losing more ball at the set piece, or so the match facts say. But the tackles made a miss, showing that Munster doing the lion's share of defending. We haven't had the tries so far, but it's been a fascinating contest, hasn't it, Clive?
I've really enjoyed it. I mean, the conditions aren't great out there, but I think the skill level of both teams has been remarkable, and Gloucester putting a lot of width on the game, and it's an exciting game, but I think the stats show the story of the game is very evenly matched, and Munster surprised and just lost a few line-out throws, which we thought would be their strength. But I think Gloucester will be pretty happy in there. But they've just got to create a little bit more. I think the width stuff's become a little bit predictable at the moment.
Scott, have you seen it?
Yeah, we talked about the Munster pack of forwards, you know. We talked about their line-out game. It's gone awry a bit, you know. They've lost a couple of balls at the back of the line-out. They're forcing it to the front man. You know, they just need a bit of composure. They showed what they can do. You know, at the end there, they won in the middle. They had a good drive. Again, with the scrum, they had a penalty against them, and they had one scrum where Gloucester wheeled them. You know, they need to cut that out if they're going to win this game.
Nigel Redman is down on the front line. I wonder what he's picked out for us in the first half. Nigel.
So it was interesting, you know, listening to the analysis in the studio, Clive and Scott. If we have a look at the Munster front five, are really under pressure from Gloucester. Gloucester really getting at them physically. If you have a look at the opening line-out exchange, this is one of the very first line-outs of the game. If you have a look at the ball comes in, there's good movement from Munster, but look, you know, Gloucester get their hands across, they interfere with the lift, they're doing everything they can to stop Munster winning the ball. You know, that was one of the first line-outs of the game. When you look a little bit further on, this is another line-out. If we have a look at Buxton, again, getting on the lift, closing that space, just slowing that lift down, and again, it's overcooked, and again, Munster, they forego a good attacking opportunity, Gloucester win the ball. And it's not just being the line-out. If you have a look at this scrum, you know, it's a Munster ball, it's a very good hit by Gloucester, they get the pressure on, you know, they're all, Stringer's delaying it, he puts the ball in, and now come the Gloucester 8, they put a good 90-degree wheel and a drive, and Gloucester get the turnover. So some great work from the Gloucester forwards, and they're allowing Gloucester to play that wide game.
Well, let's pick up on that point. You were talking about that, Clive. Is that the key, the fact that they're putting the squeeze on the Munster front five so they can just spread it wide?
Well, it's not going spreading wide. The ball is going wide and the skill level is excellent, but we're actually lucky it's sitting behind the actual post because the gaps are there, but because of the pass is so long, there's no one coming back. There's some examples here. It looks good. It's going extremely wide, but really the numbers there, but look at the blue shirts coming across. There's no one coming back to try and hold the blue shirts, and it may look okay, but you've got to hold people. And I think Stuart picked up in the commentary, it's very deep, and the blue shirts can come across. You see, we've almost got 4 or 5 Munster defenders against two Glossers, and they turn it over. And there was once in the first half where Woodman took it up, and that's what I'm talking about. You know, the width was there, but he took it up, which meant if they recycle, you go left or right. Yeah. Where they're just going straight to either side, and you know, if I was defending the middle, it's pretty easy to defend and get some people holding that defence. It's great to watch, but they've got to hold the defence and then move it either side.
Scott, you've got a point to pick up on?
Yeah, like Clive said, if you don't bring somebody back with the ball running on that angle, you know, if you bring dummy runners back, it creates the width outside. It stops the defence actually pushing, because Munster, in fairness, they're pushing very well, and they're pushing them towards the touchline. You know, unless they have those runners coming back inside, there won't be any width for them to play with.
We've said it time and time again, haven't we? You have to win your home games in Europe if you're going to have a real chance of qualifying for the quarter-finals. Gloucester, remember, have never lost at Kingsholm in the European Cup. It is poised, though, isn't it? 3 apiece. The second half is next.
Vavavoom, is it all about timing? Great performance needs timing, no? Let me break it down.
It is variable valve timing. That makes the clear so responsive and fuel efficient.
Like when the left hand does and the right does. And VVT makes Vavavoom.
Hey Bobby, what's the French for Vavavoom?
Jim Carrey has got the power in the #1 comedy of the year, Bruce Almighty. And Johnny Depp in the must-own blockbuster DVD, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. Buy them or rent them now.
Come on, hurry up! You're so gonna love what Mum got for you.
Here, babe, try this on.
What now?
Yes, go on. You got £3 off that.
We saved more than that just sitting here. Nachos, sour cream and salsa, plus a large pizza. Special offer price $9.99.
Babes, you look nice. Oh, excuse me, mate. Can we have some more of these nachos? Oh, sorry, man.
Pizza Hut. Grab a slice of the action.
The Saturday movie premiere with share-size Coca-Cola.
Placing you under arrest for the future murder of Sarah Marks. Hasn't been a murder in 6 years. There's nothing wrong with the system.
We are arresting individuals who've broken no law.
But they will. I have a warrant in my pocket that says murder. Don't run.
He set me up. Who's the victim? I've never heard of him, but I'm supposed to kill him in less than 36 hours.
Pre-conks see the future, and they're never wrong. But it's not the future if you stop them.
Minority Report, tonight at 8 and 9 on Sky Movies.
There's a double-header from the Premiership tomorrow at 1:30. It's our pay-per-view match as Leicester take on Chelsea. For further information on how to order this match, Sky Digital viewers should tune to channel 433 and follow the instructions. Cable customers, contact your local operator, and at 3 o'clock on Sky Sports 1 we go live to Old Trafford as the leaders Manchester United take on Newcastle. At the moment, though, anybody's game here at the drizzly King's Home, bearing in mind the slippery conditions. Both sides trying to play rugby. Let's hope they continue to do that in the second half as we get back to Miles Harrison and Stuart Barnes.
Gloucester too trying to build a history in this competition, the best that they've achieved thus far, a semi-final in 2001 which they lost to Leicester at Vicarage Road in Watford. Well, the history for Munster has been there for all to see over the past few years. Quarter-finalists in '99, final in 2000, lost narrowly to Northampton. The following year they lost a semi-final by just 1 point to Stade Francais. 2002 lost the final to Leicester in this controversial circumstances, of course. And then the semi-final last year, agonising to lose by a point again to Toulouse at that stage of the competition.
I don't think Munster can call themselves unlucky, though. You don't lose 5 games by such narrow margins unless you're doing something not quite right. They haven't had that killer edge, that moment when they go for the jugular. Now, of course, with Christian Cullen having signed, if they can win this group, get a home quarter-final where they're almost invincible, that might just be the edge. But this is a big 40 minutes determining which of these teams will head this group.
Cullen saw the specialist this week, and Alan Gaffney, the coach of Munster, is hoping that he'll have him back for that stage of the competition should they qualify. He's pretty well out of the pool stage, which is now starting to gather pace. As Duncan McRae starts this second half for Gloucester. Nothing between the teams. Kelly. Springer looking. O'Gara again, the man that he finds.
That's great chase from Alex Brown there. The second row, he's very quick there, and he put O'Gara under a lot of pressure, and the net result is that second row probably gained his team 20 metres of ground by putting the Irish fly half under pressure.
Last season he was with Bristol in this competition, signed in the summer. He's been an ever-present. He got a hand on that, but it seemed to go forward, the referee holding out an arm, and now the whistle goes. Worth making the point as we start this second half that the constant drizzle has lessened in its intensity, but the match certainly won't. Rare mistake here from Brown.
Nothing wrong with the throw there. Donica O'Callaghan putting him under pressure, but Brown got there plenty early enough. He'll be disappointed with himself there.
Stringer feeds. For Kelly, Goodrich had to be quick out of the blocks there. It's a wonderful kick from Stringer. No knock on from either side there as Anthony Foley goes in. He's stopped, but he keeps the ball. Stringer eventually allowed to play it. Henderson and Sheehan. And Sheehan is rocked back, and Gloucester look to fan out across the field and form that defensive line again. There was just a moment when Stringer put an excellent kick in, but Gloucester were troubled. But that's not a good kick from O'Gara. That's out on the full. Stringers was.
Well, Gloucester's defence, much like Searle last night in Dublin, is able to stop Munster going forward. It was a great tackle from Alex Brown. And he just thought O'Gara was hoping for a bit more momentum, not there at the moment, and the Irish halfbacks, they're just fishing for form.
Chris Collins hasn't found his man that time, and it fell to Williams. O'Gara to Kelly. Stringer goes for that tactic again and finds Simpson Daniel in space that time. No opportunity to put the pressure on, and Goodridge fires it back. It's a whipping, swirling wind. It's predominantly behind Gloucester.
And blowing towards the touchline you're now looking at. Shortened line out. O'Callaghan and Williams in the middle. It's probably going to be O'Callaghan. Here comes Connell from scrum half. Thank you very much.
Work Marcus! Work Marcus!
Gloucester looking tight there. No change for Munster, but they get it going. And that takes some effort. And O'Connell's got it at the base. And now Gloucester realising they're in a spot of bother, try and just take it towards the touchline. Paramore is hauling O'Connell to that line. If he gets him on it, it will be a line out, but Stringer whips in the scrum half. Well, that's good play from O'Gara to Horan. Henderson back to O'Gara. That's lovely hands from Munster. And it's Foley trying to feed it out to Horgan, and that's a good long cut-out pass, and Horgan's beaten that first man. And all of a sudden, Munster now inside that Gloucester 22. Foley supported well too. Stringer to O'Gara. Mismove to Henderson. Carries that ball superbly. Henderson doing really well here. Williams on hand too. Stringer to O'Gara. They're ready to pounce. It's Hayes. Excellent attack this. And it keeps coming. Stringer is caught by Gummersall, who knew he had to do something special, but the referee was playing advantage for offside. And it's a straightforward 3 points. And O'Gara wants to think about a quick one here, a bit like Gummersall in the first half, right at the start of the match. And O'Gara perhaps should have gone to the sin bin.
I must say, I thought there was a forward pass there from Anthony Foley in that movement, but there was good strength from Munster. Some beautiful, intricate hands down by this near touchline, and then we saw the power of Rob Henderson, reminiscent of that night in Brisbane against Australia, busting through Gloucester in the middle. Here's the good handling, beautiful inside ball to Wallace, who just offloads very well. But I think, watch Anthony Foley's pass now, the number 8, that's clearly forward. Clearly forward, and in a tight game like this, you know, that's led to 3 points. It's a big call.
Has to be a guaranteed 3 points, surely here. A day like this, no kick is easy, but this is as close to that as O'Gara will get, and he makes sure of the 3 points. And the Munster ambition is rewarded. When Gloucester see it again, they may look at that and say, well, it was a forward pass, but it was Munster with the hands who created the opening, and they'll play to the referee, thank you very much. Simpson Daniel on O'Gara, and that's sliced. So Gloucester have an immediate chance to come back into it, and O'Gara not happy with himself, having given Gloucester that chance. Needed to go much more towards halfway, and he knows it.
Couple of loose kicks. You can see that wind is obviously blowing across the park now. Simpson Daniel chased him down. You have to keep the pressure on. You can make a bad kick a good kick if you just keep chasing. Never give up a cause.
Collins made good by Brown, somehow got a palm on that. Now it's McRae and Paul interchanging, and then Buxton arrives. That's a good carry from Buxton, and a good quick release as well. Gummersall to McRae. Fanalua, Goodridge is bursting, but he needed that one to be delivered straight into him. It was never going to come from Fanalua. He wasn't going to risk that pass, and now Woodman carries that ball again with good effect. Here comes Collins, getting his chance today and reveling in it. There's no doubt about that. Gummersall to Paul. There are men on this side. Simpson Daniel, that lovely reverse pass. Then it's Buxton to Cornwall. Paramore already involved with hands, now adds his weight there. 5 metres short. It's compelling. It's Paul out to McRae. Missed out Deacon and given to Woodman. The props very much involved, and now it's Munster's turn to have their backs against this wall. They're being stretched here, certainly on this side, and Henry Paul has seen that. Simpson Daniel goes for it, scores! Simpson-Daniel for Gloucester. Henry Paul with the chip. It was beautifully executed. And at Kingsholm, Simpson-Daniel feels like a king after that.
He is the king of Kingsholm. In the last round of Europe, he scored an absolute beauty where he muscled through Bourgoin for a score, but by then the game was over. This one matters. Lovely change of direction from McRae, and this is a sweet kick from Paul, but there's work to be done. He goes low, he controls it, he drives. It's a scintillating finish. Henry Paul puts in the most subtle of kicks, and just watch this for a chase. Out the way to the defence. Good finish. He knows exactly what he's going to do. He's using his chest to make sure it can't go forward. It's tight, but there's downward pressure. Just.
What a finish.
Hard, wasn't it?
That could easily have gone wrong, and he kept his eyes on that ball. What a finish. Now, Henry Paul, can he add the 2 points? He's coming round, you know. Oh, he can. What a kick from Henry Paul. First of all, to create the try for Simpson-Daniel, and now to add the 2 points from the conversion, dealing with the wind, dealing with the difficult conditions. Paul has played his part, no doubt about that, and Simpson-Daniel too, and that has been a good spell for Gloucester. But expect a terrific response from Munster. It's starting to boil. O'Gara's second half penalty more than cancelled out as McRae kicks. And Horgan keeps the ball in field, and Garvey trying to get there to make the best tackle he could. Payne, the full-back, was swallowed up by the Gloucester tacklers, and Munster get the put in. They were going forward, they just about got the ball down. Let's have another look at this try, Stuart.
We've seen McRae take on this flat defence by the chip. This time it's Henry Paul. Here's Simpson-Daniel, bang. Behind them, it is a gorgeous kick, and now the work's to be done, and the top-class winger makes it his. He was creative last season, now he's creative and destructive for opponents.
Talking of destructive, here's Henderson trying to do what he did earlier in the half when he bust his way through. Normally he takes the door off the hinges, doesn't he, Rob Henderson, and he's certainly a threat in that department. Now that's the reverse pass again from Stringer to Sheehan, and they're trying things, Munster, as they have done right the way through the match. Plenty of ambition from both sides. That's a little tap forward from Stringer. He looks down at the floor as if to try and blame something else, but he'll be unhappy. Nigel Melver, former scrum half himself, of course, the man in charge of Gloucester. He would have admired that from Stringer. But not the knock-on.
Yeah, Sheehan taking it on, but then the knock-on. Gloucester's offence very effective around the breakdown at the moment. Munster may just be winning the battle for ball on the floor, but Gloucester's defensive patterns are excellent. The naivety we saw in Limerick last year, a thing of the distant past. This is a much more streetwise Gloucester team tonight.
But also build into that statement, we're not in Limerick, and that's still to come, and Gloucester looking to set themselves up for that contest with victory here on their own patch. Well taken by Payne. Henry Paul is trying to scurry across and get there, but he can't, and Payne finds his touch, bouncing the ball in.
It's a good kick from the full-back. Just carried it back into his 22, so he had to get out pronto. He did that, and he found a good 30 metres.
Very talented, versatile player, isn't he? And full-back just his latest position in a long line across the back line.
Probably his best as well, because he picked good incisive running lines.
Goodridge, the opposing full-back as far as Payne is concerned, to his opposite number then. Here comes Payne back at Gloucester. Well, tackled by Jake Ball. Seems to be everywhere, not for the first time in his Gloucester career. And it's Horgan right off that wing looking for work and finding Sheehan. Stringer, no knock on that time, made certain. It was a lovely pass to O'Gara. And it's good covering from Gummersall, but that's a half charge down from Wallace, whose work is semi-rewarded, but it's cancelled out by Buxton's fall and the way he covered the ground. Now McRae had men outside, but he goes for the kick. Good catch from Payne. Within this game, there are so many good individual skills, and Fanaloa just tries to ram his way through Payne and over the top. Gummersall. Bit of scooping back on the floor by Munster at that ruck. Penalty.
And with this wind, McRae should be able to send this down the channel and just let it float in. Watch this, up, and it just comes in. He doesn't go for too much in distance, but he's got territory again.
The Gloucester forwards are having a meeting. There you can see the Munster pack waiting for Gloucester to arrive. They know that having just got the try from Simpson-Daniel, another score here, and it would be a colossal task for Munster. Gummersall, McRae, Paul, having a fine game. Jake Ball tried to get there, he couldn't carry the ball on, but now it's McRae in the back line and Goodrich. Garvey leaves it to Gummersall, Paul, Simpson-Daniel, Buxton, he's got Paramore outside and he wants it. Paramore came back inside and they didn't quite cut the angle, but it's snaffled by Simpson-Daniel, who was alert to that breaking down. Saw what was happening in front of him. Gummersall needs to arrive there, the scrum half, and does. Well, that's a good pickup by McRae, and no rights to get that. Jake Ball stopped. All eyes on the referee. Gloucester put in important decisions. Stringer doesn't like it. They're trying to hold the man up and turn that ball over. And Stringer makes his point to the referee, as he famously tried to do at the end of a Heineken Cup final when Neil Back denied him. Alan Gaffney, the director of rugby at Munster, done a lot of work on the opposition, he was saying this week. Both sides know each other inside out. Now Horan is about to leave the field.
And here's Gloucester actually getting forwards tighter on the man Henry Paul there. And yes, they don't go all the way and score, but what they are able to do is guarantee that they keep the ball, because they've got a forward either side much tighter there, asking questions of the Munster defence. Hold them in the middle and spaces will come for the likes of Simpson, Daniel and Garvey.
Marcus Horan is going off and Gordon McElwan will come on. Experienced international prop with Scotland, former Glasgow man in this competition, and many times for Glasgow. And a little pat there from Horan, who's played very well indeed today, as always at the tight, but visible in the loose.
Well, he's a very, very promising player. Very similar to Trevor Woodman. And McElwan won't let Munster down, but that's just a bit of oomph in the loose gone from the Munster front row.
Gummersall to McRae. Gummersall again. Here comes Goodrich at pace, and there's Simpson-Daniel. Sheds the ball back inside in front of the shed, and Gummersall picked it up. He blows a whistle though, doesn't let that one develop. It would have been tasty. Again, he sides with Gloucester for the put-in, and this one is a vital one, very close to that line.
They're probing, aren't they? They're holding in and then they're going wide. And you do feel Gloucester want to pick the pace up. McRae has been encouraging his forwards to get to positions quickly. 10-6 up, they know if they could get a score here, they'd be in a great position. The momentum is with Gloucester. Munster will come back. Gloucester need to strike while they've got it.
Gummersall, McRae, Henry Paul. It's that chip again. It's meant for Fanaloa. Oh, that's wonderful covering from Foley, I think. Yes, Foley was there to make sure his side survived that scare, because Henry Paul threatened to open them up for the second time in this half with this grubber kick.
There was just too much weight on that kick. If he'd have dropped it dead on that right boot of his there, you know, I think Gloucester were through. Just too much weight. Brilliant work from Foley, but he actually kicked it rather than just dropped it and scud it through.
Moments, and that was one. Garvey, almost as good as a try scored from Foley, that defensive cover.
7-pointer.
Gummersall, McRae, Paul, here's Woodman in the centre, Paul to Fanalua, the real centre, Simpson-Daniel, threatening every time to get away from Kelly, who's made the tackle, but Simpson-Daniel is starting to find some space as the game goes on. Henry Paul doesn't want to overdo the kick through, and he certainly doesn't. He uses his physical strength that time. Referee holds out an arm and gives a penalty. Coming through offside. David Wallace. And it was a certain 7-pointer had Foley not dived on the ball, but this is a certain 3-pointer with the kick in front of the post for Henry Paul. Confident little point from him. He knows what's going to happen.
Tight matches like this, you just have to take whatever points come your way when you've got territory. Here's Simpson-Daniel again, carrying quite a way before John Kelly can bring him down. And all this pressure is telling now. Paul is not just going wide, he started to dance off those feet either way, giving targets for his forwards. Retention better, 7-point lead.
Time not to think about a kick like that, just do it. Go through the motions, which Henry Paul does, and slots it comfortably to give Gloucester now a very useful lead. It was 3-3 at half-time, and Gloucester now with that try-and conversion plus the penalty, the O'Gara penalty, lead by 13 points to 6.
Good riposte from the home team, and I must say, Henry Paul impressed me greatly last week against Leicester, and he's playing well again today.
Bit of tennis there between the big men, and it falls for Munster and Henderson. And they will be feeling that this game is just starting to slip away. Still plenty of time to go, though, over a quarter of the match. Still on the clock as Sheehan carries that ball with genuine purpose there. He really meant that. Release they nearly did on the floor, Munster, nearly knocked on, but the advantage being played their way for a knock-on from Gloucester. And here's Kelly to Williams, an advantage over. Good decision by the referee. Every chance for Munster to have used this ball. O'Connell, little flip on, bit of fortune in it, but it fell to O'Gara, and then it fell for McRae. One or two boos, maybe for a late one, but here's O'Callaghan coming back. He's lost that ball, carrying it, and right in front of the referee too.
Two big calls here. The little dead chip from O'Gara. I just think Andy Deacon has used all his 39 years experience and is about a millisecond late, and he's got away with that one.
I think it was a penalty. Deacon knew what he was doing there. It's a close call, admittedly, but I think Munster have been unlucky on that occasion. Deacon, as you say, in his 39th year, there's plenty of nous inside that body, and yeah, that's late.
You know, he wasn't travelling at 100 miles an hour there, to be kind to Deacon. He could have got out of that one. He's gone through with the tackle. That's a penalty.
And remember, this group could come down to bonus points. If Gloucester win here this week and Munster win in Limerick next weekend. We wait for this scrum. Let's go down to the front line, and it's Nigel Raymond. Nigel.
Just before Henry Paul took his penalty to goal, they should have had a penalty about 60 seconds before it from this scrum. And this happens too often in the game. If you have a look in, these two flankers, the number 8, Foley and Wallace, they're both off the scrum. That's a penalty. The referee's had a great game so far, but really we have to curb on that.
Yeah, good spot. That was a fingertip bind, and that's really not acceptable. It should have been a penalty. So maybe things just evening themselves out there, but it's Munster back on the defensive with Goodridge drilling another one of those big left-footed kicks.
Well, 13-6 with the wind blowing across the park. Goodridge knows exactly what his forwards want. They want territory and they want good kicks like that. Paul O'Connell, he's the man responsible for most of Munster's good line-out ball today. Hasn't been easy for them, but he's been rock solid in the middle. 6 on his own, and he's nicked 1. He's a top-class player. top-notch.
Sheehan goes looking for him, but Gloucester pouring through with Cornwall. Really stealing that. It's back with Peter Stringer. Well, it would have been had the whistle not gone. Oh, it's a penalty. I think called from this near side by Clayton Thomas.
Touch is called, blue scooping it back on the floor on the far
It was
side
touch
of the
judge
rack.
call, says referee Nigel Williams. He had a glance over and Clayton Thomas decided there was a penalty offence for hands in there, and this is Henry Paul's chance to increase the Gloucester lead after the spot from the touch judge.
Well, you can see Munster conceding 8 penalties in their own half. They risk defeat by giving those sort of stats away to Gloucester, and of course this is an important kick at the moment. It's Gloucester 4 points, Munster 1. If this was the final score, if Henry Paul was to kick this, it would be Gloucester 4 points, Munster none. And as you say earlier, Miles, those bonus points could be all important.
It's just like all competitions around the world these days. 4 tries for a bonus point, and within 7 or less, a bonus point too. So these are vital points that Gloucester put on the board. Thumbs up from Henry Paul to the shed. They respond. Similar to a previous kick from Paul in this half. He knew the line.
That's a very good kick. He started that one out. It's a strong wind. That's right out at the far post, and it's come straight through the middle. Thumbs went up because I think Henry Paul knew that that wasn't as easy as it looked. That was a good kick indeed, and a significant one. A 10-point lead is a big lead here.
You can see the strength of the wind as it blows back O'Gara's restart. He didn't judge it like Paul judged it seconds ago.
And perhaps almost acknowledgement of the pressure that successful kick put Ronan O'Gara under. But that's unacceptable for a fly half with his experience to restart like that. Munster needed to get the ball and get playing. All they've done is hand Andy Gomersall and co an opportunity to drive Munster deep.
Gomersall, Paul. Exactly what he tries to do, but it sits up nicely for Payne. And Heath whacks it back. So 10 points the lead. What's the Gloucester mindset here?
Well, Gloucester have been playing with the ball in hand, and they'll keep doing that, but they will be doing that deep in Munster territory. They have a wind with them. They'll want Munster to come from deep.
McRae, Fanalua. Look at the aggression in his play today. I don't think he's enjoyed being left on the bench. Return for the World Cup with an injury. He'll injure somebody else if he keeps playing like this. Gomersall, McRae had an astute game at fly half, and that's just a further example of the way the Australians played it.
That's what we said as well. They'll run the ball if it's good. They've got strong men like Fanaloa with that giant step to carry to the Munster defence, and then when it's slow, you take no risk. You just probe for the corners, as McRae did.
Well, it's sort of ironic, really. I mentioned that Fanaloa might be about to injure somebody with his aggressive play, but it seems that it's Fanaloa who's come off worst after that ladies' challenge. He's down on halfway receiving treatment, and Terry Fanaloa will not want to go off at this stage because he has been an important cog in the Gloucester machine. Back to the front line, Nigel again.
Yeah, just looking at that last penalty by Paul O'Connell. There he goes, flying high, misses the ball. The ball bounces up. I think this is harsh, actually. There he goes down on the floor, hands in, and then he probably holds on to it just a bit too long. But is that harsh or is it not? I don't know, really.
What it was the call from the touch judge. Nigel Williams wasn't going to give it. It's Clayton Thomas who saw the offence, if it was, on this near side. Fanalua will try and go on.
That's going to be a four-man line-out, okay?
Four-man line-out, so keep your eye on Paul O'Connell. We've seen him stepping from scrum half to win ball. They've got O'Callaghan to come forward.
So comes O'Connell, right on order. Worked before, so why not do it again? Nothing Gloucester could do about it. Is there anything Munster can do about this situation? Trailing by 10 points. And now just starting to run out of time a little bit. We'll be conscious of the clock from here on in. O'Gara missing out Henderson over the top of Mullins, and it's a mess. And again, Gloucester's stop when they had a chance maybe of trying to rip the ball off Mullins. Referee was playing advantage for the knock-on. But all things considered, a scrum in this position is not to be shirked.
No, ragged stuff again from Ronan O'Gara. Munster looking a little bit tense at the moment. Fanaloa going off.
Well, they have Robert Todd on the bench, the man that's been keeping Terry Fanaloa out of the side, so he limps off, and there will be a big cheer for this man. He really is very popular indeed here. It's a straight swap. Todd has been playing in that position.
In that style.
McRae, Gummersall, Goodridge, Simpson, Daniel. Goodridge again. Gummersall. Woodman, he's on his own here. He needs to stand tall until the support gets there. That was well played, Henry Paul. He realised that. Woodman was isolated. Back with McRae for the drop goal. It's wide, and a long way wide.
Exactly the right decision from Duncan McRae, but it wasn't a good kick, and he knows it. And Simpson Daniel see this one so often. If there hadn't been cover, that ball would not have left the hands. He'd have stepped inside.
Don't tire of seeing it, though, do we? Simpson Daniel has a box of tricks to match anybody in the Zurich Premiership in England. And now he's on the European stage in the Heineken Cup, and at the moment enjoying it as O'Gara puts that ball out on the full. And these are troublesome times for Munster. They will be desperate to leave here with just something.
Well, Ronan O'Gara is crumbling mentally in front of us. It was a lovely little chip, and then it's a hurried, horrible kick there, handing the initiative back to Gloucester. And I repeat, for a man with that international experience, Munster need more from their fly half. He is not driving them at the moment.
Collins, with very little experience, throws impeccably to Brown, and it's been pulled down. It's another penalty. It's from just about Henry Paul's favourite spot. It's a little bit closer in fact. It should be an easier kick from the ones that he's got in this part of the field. Up went Brown, and then he was pulled down, says the referee. Dangerous play. And this is for 19-6.
And again, another example of Munster's discipline is just deserting them. This game is slipping away from them. And this kick is a couple of metres from where the last one was. But watch where Henry Paul starts it. He will probably aim at the far post and let the wind bring it back.
He's in better turf as well. He's got a more sure footing, and it just swings perfectly. Lovely shape to it. He makes no mistake again, and Gloucester now have a sizable lead in this, the first two meetings between the big two in this group. Henry Paul sends it right, and thank you very much. The ball obliges, coming straight through the middle. Impeccable stuff from Henry Paul.
Yeah, don't listen to any nonsense about putting curve on the ball. He hit that ball straight, but he read the wind beautifully. That's a good kick. And now Munster really must score immediately, because Gloucester are getting clear, and Gloucester will go deep from here.
Goodridge, well, they would have done had Goodridge made his usual contact. He's sliced now.
I should have said Gloucester intended to go deep from there.
And Munster, inside the final 10 minutes, need to make inroads into that Gloucester lead. Their first port of call will be a bonus point.
I think, well, Munster looking very much a different team to the one we saw winning Bourgoin and demolish Treviso, because Gloucester have competed in the tie. They've not let them control the tempo of the game, and Gloucester have won some quick ball and asked questions.
It could be that Munster are going for 4 tries next week. A year on, different sort of 4 tries, leading to a bonus point. Here's Stringer to O'Connell.
First time Paul O'Connell has carried in this game.
Stringer again. Foley. And still Foley. Working away into Collins there, who did his best. Henderson. And the tackles flying forward from that Gloucester midfield. They know that if they can stand firm for 5 minutes or so here, They should close out the game. Sheehan. Munster look in the shape of Stringer to release O'Gara. He saw it open up, but it didn't last for very long, and that's been the story of this match as the midfields have tried to blast away through. O'Connell again, this time scrambling on the floor. Stringer to Sheehan. Once more, it's two men there for Gloucester. One of them, Buxton, who's put in so much again. Now he's getting his chance. Henderson. No knock on, somehow. Well played, Henderson.
Fantastic pressing defence from Gloucester.
Foley tries to go through Collins. Bohr is there as well, the captain. Stringer. O'Gara. Here comes O'Callaghan. Can he get anything out of this? Stringer again. McElwham to Williams, and Williams has men outside. It's the back row. Missed out Wallace to Foley. Foley is tackled, but Munster now in danger territory, and Payne releases it off to Henderson, and now O'Gara is picked up by Hayes. And for a second or two they had a chance. It's not been taken, but they do have a penalty, Munster, here, and they take it quickly with Kelly going, and Kelly straightening there for the line. That's good work from the winger. They want the try. It's Horgan. They've got the try. Absolutely brilliant from Munster. And their fans get right behind the Munster cause here. They put everything into that move. Forwards and backs. And it's one of the backs, Anthony Horgan, who gets it. And in the context of this group, how important is that try going to be? Well, in the context of this match, it's not over yet.
It's certainly not. And for once, Munster were able to move the ball from the point of contact, and Gloucester couldn't slow it. And it was difficult for Gloucester all the way. They moved the ball well. Horgan, left wing, out in the right wing channel, does exactly what Simpson Daniel does, and crosses. He's come from his other wing. It's a good, strong finish through the tackle of Jake Bohr, who has not missed one today, but now he couldn't stop that man. And Munster, let's face it, they have not been at their best in this second half, but they are right back in this game because they are streetwise and they never concede. They have belief.
I love this 2 points as well. Ronan O'Gara, the man trying to supply the conversion, trying to deal with the win that Paul has had behind him and dealt with. Well, O'Gara can't on that occasion, and well, it could be a critical miss, that 2 points.
9 minutes. 9 minutes, including injury.
He's not been confident this half, has he, Ronan O'Gara?
You probably heard the referee say there to Jim Williams, the Munster captain, 9 minutes, including time added on. So everybody knows where we stand. It's 19-11. You can see what the conversion would have done. Would have put Munster within striking range of a try and a conversion to actually win this match dramatically at the end. Horgan took his chance well, and now he has the ball. Stringer, O'Gara, Gummersall and Henry Paul there to make a tackle. Payne.
Trevor Woodman.
O'Connell just slipping as he was going to take the contact. Stringer, Henderson tries to stand up, stand tall and wait for the support to arrive. Eighth phase for Munster then, on their own 22. That's patience for you. Kelly.
Release it!
Told to release by the referee.
On all these phases, and they're not going anywhere because Gloucester have defended superbly that.
It's been aggressive defence, hasn't it, from Gloucester? They've been right up that line across the field all through this match, and Buxton, his efforts have typified the efforts of everybody in the Gloucester side, but there's no doubt that Munster have been stung into life by the size of that Gloucester lead and are starting to wish this game could go on and on, because there's a lot of strength that they possess too.
Gloucester front five have not done well just in the tight there. Their tackling has been excellent. Henderson has repeatedly looked to get to front five men, and the front five men have made the tackle.
McRae, Todd, the replacement. That's clever. It's not the time to be flash or try and catch the headlines. And it's a sellout, obviously was, as soon as everybody knew about the draw. Next week sold out too. They could have sold out the two grounds 2, possibly 3 times over for this fixture. The interest has been quite amazing.
Two of the earthier rugby territories in Ireland and England, Gloucester and Munster, wonderful supporters from both teams, and it'll be a tremendous atmosphere in Limerick, as it has been all afternoon here in Gloucester. Here's Robert Todd doing exactly what Jake Ball, the captain, wanted from his man.
Mark Cornwall's going off, by the way, as we see that ball drift out from Todd's kick, and it's Adam Eustace who comes on. He's a very useful man to be able to bring on at any stage of a match. Cornwall, well, is his work all done? Is this victory in the bag? Sheehan almost overthrowing there, and Gloucester were sensing that, and they were moving to the back in the shape of Alex Brown of that line out, just waiting for that ball to come over the top. And this has been a problem for Munster today. A problem that will need solving before the return match next weekend. Here's Paramore off the base of that scrum, finding Buxton. Revelling in his chance, as we said before. One more score from Gloucester would surely seal the win. It's McRae trying to get past the first man. McElwan with a good tackle. Gummersall. Henry Paul is waiting for the drop goal. He lined it up and he delivered. Henry Paul, who's been such a key player for Gloucester in this match again, with a drop goal which should see Gloucester home in the King's home leg against Munster. A points haul to be proud of from Henry Paul. Took his time and he was never going to miss.
The secret of that was Henry Paul knew what he wanted to do a long time before he executed the kick. You think about Matt Leake for Leinster last night? No. You think about Hodgson? Yes. Henry Paul? Yes. That's a killer blow.
It's the breathing space that Gloucester have been looking for in these final few minutes, and Munster were threatening to take away from them, and that's gone over the try scorer Horgan, and Gummersall with a jaunty stride, feeling like a winner.
Making the point, Miles, about how he just set himself up. McRae's going into the tackle. In your spotlight, Henry Paul. Watch what he does. The tackle is made. Now just watch Henry Paul. He doesn't go to support. First 2 steps back because he's buying himself a metre, and with that extra metre, that's why it's not charged down. That's why Henry Paul has put this one beyond Munster.
Sheehan to O'Callaghan. Stringer. Up the alley he goes. That's a good long pass out to McRae, and it's with Henry Paul, and now it's Todd, and Goodridge have picked a good line. He just couldn't have the ball delivered to him, otherwise he might have been through there, at least for a one-on-one on Payne. Buxton to Paul again. Gummersall, well, he thought about a drop goal, or was it a dummy? It's Deacon now to Brown. Paramore comes back off that wing. O'Connell tries to get him back towards it. Gummersall. Paul, McRae, Garvey. Again, there are plenty of players on this side for Gloucester if they can get that ball. Well, they don't, because Munster get in there and they work very hard, and had they not got that ball, it would have been a Gloucester try had they gone this side. I think it was 5-on-2, Stuart.
Yeah, but what we did see there was Munster once again turning over defensive ball quite brilliantly. Not enough, though. I think Gloucester have dominated this game. But in attack and defence, that man, Henry Paul, he created the try, he's read the elements beautifully, and I've been so impressed with his defensive play. He's pressed up, he's looked for work, he's chased the ball, especially in this second half. Man of the match against Leicester last week, he's done it again. I tell you, he's really growing to union now.
And the crowd responding there to your selection. Big cheer from the Gloucester supporters.
Heineken man of the match. Good performance from Paul.
Foley. Stringer. O'Gara, Mullins, it's poor in midfield from Munster again.
See the pressure from Paul as well at 12 though, Miles. He just
But it's the pressure which is causing the mistakes, there's no doubt about that. In what is an unforced error these days, it exists in this sport. Gummersall is down on the floor, he's taken a knock, and the touch judge is standing in. You can see him there just in the corner of the screen, and he will move in now, Tony Rowlands, to have a word with Nigel Williams about that, so we suspect foul play.
Okay. What did you see, sir?
Released the ball, number 4 came in, over vigorous use of the boot, put him in the bin, please.
Number 4?
Number 4, Munster.
Munster, over vigorous use of the boot?
Yes, over vigorous use.
Okay.
Number 4, Munster, is that man, Donica O'Callaghan, and he's going to the sin bin at the request of the touch judge.
Report, ball had been released by this player, over vigorous use of the boot. Recommendation is a yellow card.
So Munster will end the game with 14 men. As O'Callaghan goes off, no doubt to already start thinking about next weekend and what Munster have to do to turn this one round again like they did last year, like they did so impressively.
Well, that boot was born of frustration, wasn't it? And there's no doubt at all, Gloucester want this one 25-11. They want to make it as hard as possible for Munster to get any late breakaway, because they don't want the Irish province to come away from Kingsholm with a single bonus point. Gloucester are not going to get 5 today, but if you'd have said to them 4 for the win and none for Munster at kick-off, oh yes, they'd have said.
Well, it's an almost perfect scenario, and you're right, they would have taken that.
And they'd have taken the comprehensive nature of the win.
In the kick-off, not many could split them. In the end, it's Gloucester who will triumph as the winners of the match. Don't increase their lead there. This is O'Callaghan on Gummersall, and it was dangerous. It was towards the head, and it deserved a yellow card. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, right decision there from Nigel Williams. He's not a dirty player, very frustrated. Gloucester have really tackled them into submission, and they've taken their chance, be it Paul's chip and the finish and the excellence of that goal kicking.
O'Gara restarts, and now it's Todd coming through. Gummersall tries that one for Garvey. And he's still chasing, but the ball runs out, and the referee decides that is it. Gloucester have beaten Munster like they did last season in the pool stages in the home game. They've won it by doubling the Munster score, so that, considering the sheer weight of these two sides, is quite a margin. But remember the margin from last year when Gloucester went over to Limerick. What will the second half be like this time around? Man of the match, Henry Paul, knows that he had a fine game. And along with McRae and Gummersall, the 9, 10, 12 axis works so well for Gloucester. We said before the match, look out for Stringer, O'Gara, Henderson 9, 10, 12. But in the end, it was those players wearing Gloucester jerseys with those numbers on the back who won the day. And the platform set up by a mighty effort from the Gloucester forwards against this Munster pack.
Yeah, Munster fancied themselves in the tight 5, but they couldn't produce the goods. But how sweet will today's performance be for Henry Paul? He did endure a nightmare in Limerick last year. The Gloucester crowd were on his back then. We wondered whether he was heading back to rugby league. He's moved to centre. In the last 2 months, his game has grown so quickly. He was outstanding again today. All the ghosts are exercised. Henry Paul is starting to look a top-class player again. They'll need him like that in Limerick, because it'll be a different story there.
Yes, it seemed last year that Henry Paul had lost the ability to even catch the ball when he travelled to Munster. This time he showed that he has all-round abilities. As you say, a great day for Henry Paul, and a very interesting reaction from the Gloucester players and the Gloucester fans actually. Many of them are streaming out of the ground there's no doubt that they think this is only half-time. The job is only half done. Just a little come over to the shed there from 2 or 3 of the players to acknowledge their support, but there's no victory lap of honour, because at the moment, between these two for Gloucester, there is certainly no victory yet.
Thanks to Stuart, thanks to Miles. So Gloucester get what they needed, a home win essential. They stopped Munster getting the bonus point as well. Part 2 next week. Now, tomorrow we'll be on air at the earlier time of 12 o'clock. We've got an hour's build-up and a chance to reflect on some of the Saturday games as well. A 1 o'clock kick-off for the Pool 1 match between Ulster and Leicester at Ravenhill. And that is followed by the Pool 6 game at the Causeway Stadium as Wasps entertain the Celtic Warriors. Both of those on Sky Sports 2. And a reminder that highlights of all the games over the weekend you'll be able to catch up with in our European Rugby special, Sky Sports 3.
He knew exactly what he was doing and he's got away with it.
Yeah, there you can see it. Eyes him up. Stops him in his tracks. And that, well, that's as blatant a yellow card offence as I've seen for a while. Not quite certain what the touch judge was doing there.
Along with those caps, he had that spell in New Zealand before returning to play club rugby over here. It wasn't in the picture for the A-team this year when a lot of props were used at that level because of injury at all levels. Gummersall. And all Redpath can do was watch, but then he threw it to Robinson. Got it 5 metres.
Those two did well there, didn't they? Redpath and Robinson combined quite beautifully. Slick hands, quick thinking from the scrum half, and a lovely little step from Robinson, and with it a superb kick. Look at this.
How long on your watch?
Just steps outside the 5 metres line. One nimble step through Gummersall and another excellent kick.
I tell you what, in its own way, that was brilliant play, wasn't it?
From both of them.
Yes.
And that was professionals thinking about their job and doing it to the best of their ability. To be appreciated.
Which is not what you would say about the Gloucester line-out at the moment.
Captain.
Not a thing of efficiency.
Thank you.
But I say again, 6-10 with the wind is a bad position for the Sharks. But look at this, I mean, Gloucester's line-out throw really struggling, but their defence has been cast iron in the first 35.
6 out of 10, he's nowhere near where he should be at this level. Harris.
Hands out, Red. Stay.
Redpath, Baxendale. It's scrappy now.
Stay back foot, Red.
And on the back foot too. Titterell.
Oh, good play, Pinkerton.
Started all the Premiership matches for his club this season. Another wonderful season from Steve Pinkerton.
Move away, slowing it down.
And he helped get his side a penalty.
Yeah, now I wonder. I don't think Sale should be looking to go for 3 points here. I think this is a very long way out for Josh Baxendale, and at 6-10, he's eyeing it up, you know, but I just think they want something more before half-time. And I think as a risk assessment, the return's not high enough.
Says the former Building Society manager.
Another lifetime, Miles, another lifetime.
Certainly was for some of your clients. Thankfully, some of them have bounced back. Here's Robinson. And Sale's moment, you feel.
Great kick from Robinson again, wasn't it? Judged to perfection there. And they do need a moment. The Sharks need a moment here.
Jones down. Redpath standing out wide. Harris cutting back with real purpose. Good tackling in the end from Simpson Daniel, but that has stretched Gloucester as Harris tried to splinter his way through. Redpath is on in the corner and he's given Anglesey. It was their moment.
Oh, little again.
Dan Harris made it, but watch the speed and the zip of Brian Redpath's flat pass. Redpath, bang, look at that, across the body. Beautiful little pass by the Scottish scrum half. He's been the ace of the pack in this first 40 minutes. There, takes out two men, and Anglesey does awfully well to stay in field there.
It is another example of high-quality play in a tight spot.
Yeah, we haven't got the kaleidoscopic stuff we sort of expected, but what we're getting is some sort of 5-metre rugby, I call it, of real excellence, real excellence.
Only one way that try could have been scored, with a pass of that quality and a finish from Anglesey to match. Baxendale fails with the wide conversion, but the Sharks back in front, leading by a point, courtesy of Pete Anglesey's try.
And I don't know about you, but I get the feeling that this game is just starting to warm up now. I think we've got some second half in store.
Mercier. A bit more length in that.
Not
Still
enough height,
plenty of hang though.
Leave it red, leave it red.
Robinson.
Wait, Lou.
Got to put more pressure on the restart. Look at this, Chris Jones takes that easily, and it's James Forrester after him. Those two young Tyros are having a little bit of an edgy battle.
5, lads, 5.
And of course, a member of the England A team this season, Chris Jones, along with Forrester. And how long before those two are part of the full side on a regular basis? Chris Jones getting a hand in there.
Yep, hats off, you know, to Mallender and Diamond. Their line-out strategy has worked to a T in this first half. Jones playing at 8, but he's just roaming up and down that line-out at will, and he's really presenting too much of a problem for Olivier Azam.
Mentioned Mallender and Diamond down below as Dean Ryan and Nigel Melville are having a word with fourth official Brian Campsall. Oh, it's a constant word.
Not Dean Ryan. It's a great battle in the line-out because both sides are competing hard.
Well, Gloucester clearly unhappy what's happening at the line-out. They feel that the Sharks are trying everything
5 in the side
and getting away with it.
No, it's not.
Now the Sharks have got a penalty. We're in at the side.
And it's Robinson the boot to punt it downfield. Anything for sale just before half-time would be such a bonus. And they'll rely on Robinson now to take it 20, 30 metres.
Very different contest to the one earlier in the season, back in September, a long time ago, when they met at Kingsholm. And Gloucester scored 6 tries. They were mesmeric at times that day. 44-8 was the final score. But the Sharks have come a long way during the course of this season. There's Dean Ryan back on his seat alongside Nigel Melville. Won't be for long.
Now that win at home to Sale I thought was a marker. That's when you said, yes, Gloucester are a team who could take Leicester's title.
And what price the double? 22,000 Gloucester fans were at Twickenham to see the Powergen Cup final success. Will they be returning to see their side to a Europe Championship success right at the end of the season? Well, not if Sale have anything to do with it, and they might have a lot to do with it. It would be dreamland if they could snatch another score before half-time. to add to the Anglesey try.
I'll tell you what, Redpath has a little space down that short side, but the forwards are just muscling on.
It's Baxendale, and still good dummy run from Bond. Not sure how planned it was, but it nearly worked. Baxendale showing great awareness again with ball in hand. Yates, Hanley goes for the drop goal and doesn't like what he sees.
I don't think Steve Hanley took the right option there at all. Here's Josh Baxendale, bad pass. Bond on the decoy. But again, Gloucester getting very quickly at the point of contact. Sharks not quite getting quick ball.
Mercier. That was a horrible one for Hanley. But it doesn't matter because that's the final whistle in this first half. A fascinating half between the top two in the Premiership, and only a point between them. Delicately poised.
Yes, and I think all the action to come in the second half. Gloucester have the win now, but Sale, they have plenty of wit. This should be a great second half, you know.
Gloucester could seal their place at Twickenham, but they need to win this match today. This helped in their aim to get back to Twickenham. Ludovic Mercier powering his legs up the field and just getting away from Jason Robinson in the end. Fine break from Mercier. That Gloucester score, and then look at that pass from Redpath. And Anglesey, little look to the touch judge, but he said good. It was very good. And at half-time, it's Sharks 11, Gloucester 10.
I was headhunted again last week.
Well, I've definitely been earmarked for the board. In fact, I've quadrupled my turnover inside 5 years.
Can I give anyone a lift?
So, what did you say you did?
I didn't.
To prove this person is not an actor, he will attempt a scene from a famous movie.
Are you saying something to me? Are you saying something to me? There's nobody.
Cut. Not an actor. So, tell us about BT Broadband.
Revision websites are great for kids. With something like BT Broadband, the actual online connection is very quick, and that helps him in terms of revision, getting immediate responses, and keeps them interested in what they're doing.
Broadband your horizons. To connect for free, call 0800 800 060.
Pay this in, please.
You'll just need to fill out this form.
Panic! She wants you to fill in a form, and there's no one here to help. Or say something. Quick!
I haven't got a pen.
Oh, pathetic.
Use mine?
Oh, just give it up. Go on, run away.
I'll come back later.
Get rid of your reading and writing gremlins. Call 0800 100 900 or press the red button.
What drives you? Is it speed? Is it danger? Is it victory? Sky Movies Max presents a season of adrenaline-fueled movies, guaranteed to get your motor running. With Sylvester Stallone in the premiere of Driven, Good Friday at 8, part of the Full Throttle season on Sky Movies Max.
We have a great choice of live action across 3 Sky Sports channels today. Here on Sky Sports 1 from 5, it's a double bill of live Football League. Ipswich against Portsmouth, followed by Reading against Forest. Over on Sky Sports 2, live golf at 4:30. It's the Portuguese Open, and at 9 o'clock it's the Heritage. And now on Sky Sports Extra, live ATP Masters Series tennis from Monte Carlo. Half-time though, here at Haywood Road, and it is the Sharks that lead by a solitary point, a try apiece. But Sale have had the wind in their favour. The match facts perhaps reflecting that, because Gloucester doing a little bit more defending, certainly in terms of tackles made, tackles missed, but the key stat there, Towie, Gloucester losing more set-piece possessions, struggling at the line-outs.
They have, and I think the riot act has actually been given to Sale, because that a week ago they went to Leicester to down there and they lost quite heavily, really, and their forwards didn't front up. They know they had one chance today, and by word they are fronting up. They get in the territory and they're messing up the Gloucester line-out.
Perhaps not as we expected in this game so far, because we were talking about it perhaps being an expansive game, but it's been a little bit tight, hasn't it?
I think there's so much at stake from both sides. You can see Chris Jones and Forrester going at each other, big style. It's an edgy game out there, and as we saw within the first try, it was against the run of play, but these things, games can change on that.
Okay, let's have a look at the first try itself, because it was Ludovic Mercier with a little bit of enterprise